More than 10 years after the occasions of the principal film, the film starts with Jake Tarnish portraying his unobtrusive and tranquil life as head of the Omatikea faction and raising a family with his significant other Neytiri, which incorporates his children Nedium and Loke and his girl Tok, his embraced girl Kiri, brought into the world from effortlessness Augustine's out-cold Navi symbol, and a human kid named Bug, the child of Miles Quaritch who was brought into the world on Pandora yet couldn't be moved to Earth in cryostasis. While Jake can acknowledge Bug as a took-on child, Neytiri is doubtful of him given his human beginnings. Notwithstanding, every one of the youngsters blend and mingle well with one another including Insect, whom Kiri is friendly with despite the fact that he is a human. Bug doesn't embrace his human legacy and feels more lean to Navi culture and customs. They carry on with a typical existence until one day they notice a weird star in the night sky. Unfortunately, they understand it's a RDA space transport with people getting back to Pandora to colonize it, raising another super working base once more. Among the fresh debuts in the boat is Colonel Quaritch, who has been cloned into a Navi body and with his recollections transferred from before his passing. Subsequently, Quaritch can't recall his downfall on account of Jake, however is simply ready to remember the occasions before and his wrathful mission to wipe out Jake. To keep the RDA from taking advantage of Pandora once more, Jake drives an essential guerrilla activity against the RDA supply lines, debilitating them. In one of the tasks, Loke, who defies Nedium and anxious to show what him can do, attempts to help Jake in fight yet gets injured. Jake protects and trains him to not imperil his own well-being by being wild. That evening, while at the same time keeping an eye on his injuries, Neytiri serenely reminds Jake to be not excessively unforgiving with Loke, to which Jake communicates his anxiety as a dad for the security of his youngsters. In the interim, the counter follow-up on the RDA supply lines doesn't agree with Quaritch, who starts a pursuit mission to kill Jake. During a fun-loving endeavor, Jake's youngsters alongside Bug investigate further into the rainforest. Unbeknownst to them, Quaritch and his group are at a similar area investigating the site where Quaritch will see his human remaining parts. An attentive Loke sees their presence and rapidly illuminates his dad Jake, who is made aware of the circumstance. Nonetheless, a clash happens and Quaritch's crew catches Jake's kids. Jake and Neytiri show up in time and free a large portion of them. However, Bug is taken by Quaritch, who remembers him as his child. On board the boat, the RDA attempts to coercively remove data about Jake from Bug, who will not give. Evolving methodology. Quaritch tends to Bug as his child and furthermore to make sense of more about the Navi in return for his opportunity on his side. Despite the fact that unhelpful and ignorant about Quaritch's genuine mission, Insect shows Quaritch Navi culture. Quaritch is additionally effectively ready to tame an Icron flying animal as his vehicle. Realizing the peril, Insect's information on his whereabouts postures to their security and furthermore to keep away from another disaster. Jake persuades a hesitant Neytiri and his family to exile themselves from the Omatikea faction and retreat toward the eastern seaboard of Midcaina, a coral reef island whose tribe and way of life is adjusted to Pandora's seagoing territory. Jake gives his central mantle to his replacement and passes on altogether to Midcaina. Once showed up, they are welcomed by the tribe boss Tanauri and his significant other Ronald, who is suspicious of them at first. Nonetheless, Jake makes sense of their circumstance and they are consented to remain and given cover. Despite the fact that a few tribesmen criticize Jake and his kids for their hereditary human legacy, the family learns the methods of the reef individuals, gaining the appreciation of them. Kiri is captivated with the oceanic existence of Midcaina and fosters an otherworldly bond with the ocean and its animals, while Loke gets to know Tsiria, the little girl of group boss Tanauri and his better half Ronald. While adjusting to their new climate, Loke gets into a battle with Tsiria's sibling Aonung when he pokes a rough fun at Kiri and him of their blended human genealogy. Jake counsels his child for his way of behaving. At Jake's demand, Loke gets back to apologize to Aonung and his companions. Be that as it may, they tempt him to an excursion into the domain of a risky ocean hunter and leave him abandoned as a vengeance. The ocean hunter attempts to go after Loke. Nonetheless, Loke is saved by and gets to know Payakan, a Tulkan, a wise and pacifistic cetacean species whom the Midcaina think about their otherworldly family. Upon his revisitation of Midcaina, boss Tanauri, who became mindful of Aonung's activities on Loke, requests that the previous apologize to Loke. Notwithstanding, Loke assumes the fault on himself, winning Aonung's kinship. He is additionally informed that Payakan is a pariah among his species. In the meantime, out traveling to a branch off of the Tree of Spirits, Kiri joins with it to meet her mom. however experiences a rough seizure. She is mended by Ronald. Yet when Jake calls Norm Spellman and Max Patel for help, Quaritch can follow them to the archipelago where the reef individuals reside. Carrying Bug with him, he secured a whaling vessel which is hunting Tulkans to reap their cerebrum compounds for making hostile to maturing cures. Quaritch starts to ruthlessly scrutinize the native clans about Jake's area, bombing that. He arranges the whaling team to wantonly kill the Tulkans to draw Jake out. Locke intellectually interfaces with Payakan and discovers that the Tulkan was projected out on the grounds that he conflicted with the methods of his species and went after the whalers who killed his mom at the point when the Midkayana learn of the Tulkan butchers. Locke takes off to caution Payakan, trailed by his kin, Syria and Aonang. They find Payakan being pursued by the whalers, and Locke, Kiri and Tuck are caught by Quaritch. With their youngsters in harm's way, Jake, Neytiri and the Midkayana set off on a mission to stand up to the people. Quaritch powers Jake to give up, yet seeing his spirit sibling endangered, Payakan assaults the whalers, setting off a battle which kills the vast majority of the group and fundamentally harms the vessel, making it sink. Nedium salvages Locke and Insect, however is lethally shot. Jake faces Quaritch, who involves Kiri as a prisoner. At the point when Neytiri does likewise with Bug, Quaritch at first denies his child, yet stops when Neytiri cuts Insect on the chest. Jake, Quaritch, Neytiri and Tuck end up caught inside the sinking vessel. Jake chokes Quaritch into obviousness and is protected by Locke and Payakan, and Kiri calls ocean animals to help her save Neytiri and Tuck. Bug finds and safeguards Quaritch, yet passes on him because of his brutality towards the Na'vi and putting his objective to kill Jake's family over being his dad and turning into a decent man, driving him back to rejoin Jake's loved ones. After Nedium's burial service, Jake and his family choose to for all time stay with the Midkayana.